Welcome to lesson 4. We're going to do a little bit more one rein riding here before we go to the contact riding, the two rein riding. We're just going to have a look at our transitions, make sure we get these really soft, and it'll really help with your impulsion if you can get nice soft transitions. Now when I say soft, I mean that you don't have to use many phases, but also that the horse stays nice and laterally soft when you're riding them. And doing your transitions, it's real important you do transitions up and down and maintain the softness in your horse, and I'll show you how to do that. Because remember, what we allow them to do is what they'll learn, so we've got to keep an eye on that softness in the transition. Not just the transition, but softness in the transition. So we're going to do our up transition pretty much the same as what we did in lesson 3 there. So we lift our body life up, we squeeze down here if we need to, and squeeze it with our legs if we have to, and as soon as the horse goes, we get into the rhythm of the horse. Actually, if you could start your rhythm before, your phases would help as well, because that'll really get your transitions light. So we're going to ride down the rail here. That's for our upward transition. We're going to use our phases and our body language. For our downward transition, relax your body life. And what I'd like you to do as you do your downward transition, just get your horse to tip his nose a little bit. He's gone to sleep there. Just tip his nose just a little bit as you're doing your downward transition. Now you won't need to do this down the track, but if you can't do it, something's wrong, which means your horse is getting a little bit stiff in whatever gait you're in. Okay, so if you're going along in a trot and you relax back down and he comes down to a trot, to a walk, that's good, but was he soft in that transition? Now if he wasn't soft, it's going to upset your good impulsion later on and your collection and your engaged work, so your vertical flexion and collection that we're going to be doing later on in the program. So we'll get a head start on this now and make sure that they're soft in their upward and downward transitions by just checking that they're soft by tipping their nose just a little bit in the transition. So I'm going to ride this fence line down here and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, and we'll have the rope on the same side as the fence for this exercise. Okay, now when we're riding the rail, stay about 1 metre away from the fence, and as you're on the fence line, try and leave the horse alone. If he gets a little bit close, I'll just come back the other way here to a direct rein when I get a bit of practice in there. If they get a little bit close to the fence, you can just swing your rope and just cause a bit of discomfort next to that fence, and then they'll come away from the fence a little bit. Okay, so walking down the fence line here, you've got to have this pathway that you want them on to be a spot of comfort. Okay. When you're training your horses and educating your horses, they need to follow your focus, and your focus is going to be to release. Okay, so wherever you want them to go, you leave them alone. Alright, so just a direct rein back the other way. If they go out away from the fence, I'll just see if I can get him out. If they go out that way, focus on the fence line, lift your direct rein, put them back on the fence, and then leave them alone again. Okay, so that's how we stay on the rail. As you're riding around out here as well, you notice I did some direct rein turns to change and go back the other way, but also practice your indirect reins as well, so that's your back end steering. So here I'm going to move his hind out and around and go back in a new direction. So just practice your rein positions on the rail as well. You'll see those in your homework cards, and that's how you do it going along. You can do those at a walk and a trot, even up to a canter if you're up for it. Okay, so I'll just do one more turn here, an indirect rein, and I'm just going to pause a little bit before I turn so he doesn't think that the rope means turn each time. Just causing a bit of discomfort out there. Right, now hind quarter yield, which is an indirect rein, release, go back on our comfort pathway over here, which is the rail. Okay, piece of cake. That's how we get on the rail. Once you've got that going good at a walk, you can do the same at a trot. Alright, we're going to practice the transitions here. So here I'm in a walk. Here I'm going to change my rhythm, lift my body life up. He comes up to a trot. Now I'm going to relax. And I'm just going to tip his nose just a little bit. As I came down a transition. So I'll do that again. Wait till I get back on the fence line here. Okay. Body life up. Change my rhythm, didn't have to squeeze. Here I'm relaxing. He's coming down a transition pretty well, but I just need to tip his nose just that little bit there. Sort of cracked a bit there, didn't he? We'll do that again. Get a lot of chances to practice my rein positions in my turns here, which is good. Okay, here we go. Body life up. It's getting pretty good at that. Body life down, relaxing, taking the slack out of my rein here, reaching down, flexing him just a little bit in the downward transition. Pretty good. I'm going to do a hindquarter yield on this one. Good. Okay, so I'll just come over to you guys and just point out something that's real important here. Good flex, mate. Okay. Hold it there, Major. Alright. So as you're coming in, you've done your transition up, he's trotting along, you want him to come down a transition, you relax into your seat, you get into a walk rhythm. Lift your rein up, take the slack out of the rein, don't put a great deal of pressure on there yet. Now if they come down a transition from that, still ask them to flex just that little bit, just like that, and then release. Okay? You just want to see that softness in there. Now some of your horses are going to be real stiff when you do that. You're going to lift this up, you're going to go to reach down here, it's going to be real stiff in there, okay? And that happens sometimes. For that, you might have to put a bit of this leg on here and just move the hind out a little bit. So you reach down, the fence is on this side, you reach down, he'll be a little bit stiff, just put a little bit of leg on here just to soften him and then release. Okay, so that might be a tip that will help you, those of you who have horses that are a little bit rigid when they're going along. And it's it's just one of those things that they learn because no one ever tells them to be soft. Okay, so make sure you keep them soft to really help you later on in your higher level stuff, keeping your horse nice and soft. Also makes for a better ride if they're laterally soft. So that's our walk trot transitions. Let's have a look at our canter ones. Now when you're doing these, if you've got an area similar to this one but do the full lap, at the moment I'm just sort of doing half turns here so I don't run my camera person over, but do full laps. And when you're first starting out on this, do your transitions in the same place, okay? So, and get your horse to where he's, I know what's about to happen, and it'll just help him out a little bit. Once they start to assume and start to take over, which means they start to do the transition, in that spot by themselves, then it's time to move that spot. Another little thing I'd like you to do, which is real important, is to go deep in these corners, okay, and keep the horse deep in that corner. Will help laterally flex through the body, and it'll also stop that those horses that sometimes dip into their turn. You don't want to encourage that. So when you're coming up to this corner, if you've got a horse who sort of just turns before the corner and does the turn all by himself and doesn't go deep into the turn, mate. We haven't done that one yet, have we? I'll show you that neck rein later on. If you've got a horse who doesn't go deep into the turn, right up to the corner, give him a rest there, okay? And then ride off and do your transitions again, okay? So you'll do stops in the corner, and that'll encourage the horse to want to go in the corner deeper when you're riding along. Okay, transition up. Here I'm going to do a change of direction in the trot. I want you to do those too. They're in your homework cards. Here he's in a trot. I'm going to open up on my right side here, change my rhythm, Do a little bit of canter and relax back down and flex him back down for the downward transition. Okay, we'll do that again. And I'll just show you that positioning for your canter. It'll really help your horse get the correct lead. Now, we're not working on leads yet, we're just working on transitions, but if you're doing a nice job and getting in the right position and you've suppled your horse really nice and kept it nice and soft, you'll find that the leads come naturally anyway. But when you're coming up for a canter, if you could have this side open, so your left arm, your left leg are out open, and then you're leading, it's the leading side of your body. So if I want a left lead, I need to lead with my left. Now, don't go too far, but do open up there, okay? Try not to sort of go like this, okay? More of a gallop position. So open up and out, and if they don't go, you can drive them from behind, same as you did when you were waving your stick around when you're on the ground. Even give them a hurry up and tap them on the bum if you have to. Okay. Alright, let's go do that again. So here we are, walk, trot, left lead, nice, relaxing, reaching down my rein, down to a nice walk. Come back up this other way. Good job, mate. Now they'll start to assume after a while that every time you go up to a trot you're going to canter, okay, because I want you to practice lots of transitions. If they start to get a bit rushy in the trot and they think, oh my god, I'm going to canter in a minute, then just start doing walk-trot transitions again. And you can also go from walk to canter just to really keep them thinking. So mix up your transitions. Have a pattern at first, but then once they start to assume a little bit, then start to mix it up. So here I'm in a walk. I'm going to go straight to a canter. Now here I'm going to relax, come back down to a walk. Keep going, buddy. Okay? Just to keep them thinking. Good job, mate. Remember, when you're going along, try and give them a loose rein. You slacker. Ooh. Try and give them a loose rein when you're going along and be in rhythm with the horse. Sorry, cameraman. Person. And of course, transitions will have stops as well. So, you know, you'll need to do your trot, flex to a stop, and backwards. Okay, so you can practice these. These are all in your homework cards. So, try and have some sort of pattern. I know I've mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. Have a pattern in your transitions first up until your horse starts to understand it, and then start to change the pattern. So if you do trot to back up and they're starting to assume that, then do walks to back ups or canters to back ups. You know, so really make sure that you keep them thinking. You don't just want to train them, repetition train them. You want them to be listening to your body language. So if you keep it interesting for them, they'll keep listening to you a little bit more.